we are discussing memory level of teaching, and in the previous lesson we have discussed about the theories which lay the basis for this level of teaching. So now we are going to start with the remaining part of the lesson, and in this lesson we will be studying about what could be the objectives which can be achieved through teaching at memory level, what kind of content is required, what methods are most suitable for this level of teaching, what is the role of teacher and learner, and what activities can be utilized to make this method better. We will also be discussing about the motivation theories and how and what kind of motivation is required for memory level of teaching. Whenever we teach something, teacher has to evaluate the outcome of teaching. So what evaluation method can be used to assess memory level of teaching? What are the merits and demerits? And in the end, I will be discussing some suggestions so that teachers can use this level of teaching with better skill. So let us start with the topic. So first of all, we will discuss the objectives. Then to achieve these objectives, what content should be selected, and to provide this content to the learner, what method should be used. In the previous lessons, we have understood it very well that content is selected as per the objectives which we lay down for teaching, and as per the content we have to select different methods of teaching. So these three things, they are very intimately related to each other. So in this class we will be discussing the objectives, content and method of teaching for level of teaching, especially memory level of teaching. As far as objectives is concerned, as we discussed in the previous classes also, that memory level of teaching is more suitable when we have to provide certain information, or we want the learner to be familiar with certain concepts, or we want to make him memorize certain formulae or certain symbols or certain dates related to historical evidence, or how the subject or the content has developed through age. So all these things, they are related to the work which has been done in the past. So before starting with the new content, we want to make the learner familiar with the knowledge which is already present. So when our objective is related to providing information, now this information may be in the form of facts, maybe certain definitions, maybe certain formulae. As in mathematics, we have to make the learner aware of certain mathematical operations, and we can make that work easy if the learner is able to memorize certain formula, because those formulae have been developed through a lot of effort. So we want the learner to memorize certain formula so that he can apply them at the right time. Similarly, in sciences, they have to learn certain symbols, notations, or certain formulae which are related to chemical substances and so on, which are also a fixed kind of knowledge. So when our objective is to provide this kind of information which is of a rigid nature, related to certain facts, related to certain definitions, formulae or symbol, then this method is the most suitable method. We can also provide information about certain concepts, structures, models, and theories. At times, we tend to teach some complex content, and that complex content is based on certain concepts, or it has certain structure or stepwise procedure which is to be followed, or certain model which has been developed by educationist, or it is the work of a lot of effort has gone into development of that model. So if the learner is able to understand that model, then he will be saving a lot much of effort. And similarly, theories, as you have seen that in the previous lesson we have discussed certain theories which are related to memory level of teaching. So those theories, they are to be memorized as they have been formulated. So that content is also something which should be taught at memory level. If we understand those theories, then we will be able to apply them in the future complex subject. So in the initial stages, if our requirement is to provide certain concrete facts, if the material is simple, then these contents, they are to be provided. But in case we want to teach some complex material which is based on these complex concepts or models or theories, there also we need to make them memorize these structures. Very common example can be taken from the lesson itself, that is teaching at memory level, which is a complex subject. So first we have tried to know about the theories which have been formulated by different psychologists, and by knowing those theories we can aim at developing understanding of the memory level of teaching. Similarly, for example, in case of grammar, when we are teaching languages, then there are certain grammar rules which are to be memorized and applied as they are. Language being a very complex activity, and as it is based on certain structures, if the learner is able to understand the formation of these structures and memorize those rules, then it becomes easy for the learner to understand the complex subject matter of learning of languages. So that means that when the content which is to be taught is very simple, or when it is very complex, at both levels certain objectives of teaching can be achieved by teaching at memory level. According to the Bloom's taxonomy, when the student is very young, he learns to identify, recall and remember the objects or events or ideas which he has retained in his memory. So simple concepts or simple ideas which are presented to him, that becomes a part of his memory. And based on these concepts or elements, he is able to understand the higher order concepts, or higher order knowledge is achieved by understanding which is developed on the basis of memorization of these concepts. So these are some of the objectives which can be achieved by teaching at memory level, or in other words I can say that when your objective to make the learner know about this type of content, then you should select memory level of teaching. Now if this is the objective, then what should be the content, or how the content should be organized so that we can take maximum benefit of memory level of teaching. As far as content is concerned, At memory level, content is purely teacher centered or it is purely subject centered. Because there is rigid content that is to be taught. As we have already understood that at memory level we are teaching that content which is related to the past work. And that past work is to be memorized as it is. So that means the content must have a rigid structure. For example, you can't change the rules of grammar as per your own will. You can't change the formulae and symbols of chemical substances at your own will. You can't change the historical dates or events, how they have happened in history as per your own will. That means this type of content, it is having a rigid structure. And we all know that simple things, they are to be memorized easily. As the complexity of the content increases, memorization becomes difficult. So the content which is selected at this level, that should be simple, or it should be proceeding from simple to complex nature. First we should try to make the learner learn simple content, and slowly and steadily we should move towards complex content. Taking the same example of learning languages through grammar rules, first we have to make the learner learn about formation of simple sentences. Then we can proceed to content which is related to understanding or learning of structures which are related to complex sentences. Because simple content is going to form the basis of complex content. If the learner has not memorized the simple content, he will not be able to memorize the complex content. Another characteristic of content that is to be used here is that it should be very well organized. And this organization has to be rigid. Let us take an example here. For example, we want to teach alphabets to a small child. The mind of small child is not having that much of capability to know the difference between capitals and small letters, or he may not be able to understand the variety of cursive writing. So in the initial stages we try to make the learner learn manuscript and capital alphabets, because they are having a fixed structure and comparatively rigid organization as compared to cursive writing, where in cursive writing we find that there are many different patterns, there are many different styles. So first we make the learner learn the manuscript, then slowly and steadily we proceed from manuscript to cursive writing. Similarly, when we are teaching them sciences, first we teach them simple definitions, then we move to memorization of complex definitions. Or first we make them learn about simple formulae or simple symbols, then we proceed to complex, and same way in mathematics. So this organization has to be very defined and very well organized. And as far as possible, this content should be presented in same sequence repeatedly, because if the sequence is changed, then the learner may not be able to integrate it in his memory. And another thing is that is very important, that young children, they are very receptive to new knowledge, and at this age they can grasp ideas about quite many things, and as we grow older, then more of mind capability is used for understanding and capacity to know about different types of content reduces. So at the young age, the children, they can be taught with this level of teaching because they are very receptive and they perceive the word around them, because they are very inquisitive about it. They want to know about so many things, and the capacity to memorize is also more as compared to as the child age advances. So when we are teaching by using pedagogical method, there the role of memory level of teaching is more. When we are teaching adult learners, then this level is limited to teaching of complex subject, and it only forms the basis for teaching of complex subject. So this is regarding the content, how we are going to select the content and how we are going to organize it. Now let us talk about the methods of teaching. There are many different methods of teaching that you might have studied or you will study during this course of study. Some methods of teaching, they are teacher centric. For example, lecture method or demonstration method, where the teacher has to play an important role and learner remains a bit passive. Whereas certain methods of teaching like learning by doing, experimentation or participation in debates and acclamations, these are more of student centric method. When we are teaching at a memory level of teaching, then we will be using teacher centric methods. So teacher centric methods means lecture method or demonstration, and very commonly used method is rote learning. Rote learning is based on revise and repeat. In case of passive learning, drill work is very important. So what the child is doing or what the learner is doing, he is repeating the same work again and again. Due to revision of the same material again and again, that material, it gets impression on the learner's mind, which becomes memory. So that means, as far as memory level of teaching is concerned, we are using mechanical process of learning. So here we will be using those methods which are selected by teacher, and a lot of work depends upon the teacher because teacher has to prepare the lesson, he has to deliver the information, he has to demonstrate, he has to motivate the child for rote learning, and he has to make the child revise and repeat the material again and again. A lot of drill work is required, but that drill work is required to be as a mechanical process. When I talk about mechanical process, I mean that the same type of work is to be done again and again. As we very well understand that in the pre-primary stages, where the child goes to the school to learn alphabets, etc., we will see that the subject content is very limited, but the learner is made to do same work repeatedly many times until and unless he has developed certain proficiency. So what we see, that content is limited, rigid, going simple to complex, and the learner is made to do the mechanical work again and again. So through this mechanical process of learning, he memorizes the material. So from this we can see that all these three things, that is objective, content and method, they are very interrelated to each other. Now let us talk about the next part, that is role of teacher and role of learner. That means during the process of learning, what does the teacher do and what does the student do? Because we know that teacher and student, they have to interact with each other to complete the process of interactive learning. So certain activities, they are to be done by teacher and certain activities, they are to be done by learner. So here I will be discussing what activities are done by teacher and what can be expected from the learner, that he will be doing these activities so that interactive process of learning is completed. As far as role of teacher is concerned, here the teacher has a very dominant and authoritarian. That means that this method is centered on teacher and all the decisions, they are taken by the teacher, and the learner, either he is not at that stage to contribute his ideas to the process of teaching, or if the learner is mature enough, even then he has not got that much of exposure to the content that he can contribute to the content or the process. So all the decisions are to be taken by the teacher. Teacher decides what material is to be taught, how it is to be taught, when it is to be evaluated, what activities are to be done, how it is to be sequenced. Everything is done by the teacher, and teacher is the supreme authority. So here in this we see that a teacher needs to be much more mature as compared to the learner, not only in age but in experience or expertise too. So for being dominant and authoritarian, teacher has to be body of knowledge. He has to have that much of experience so that he takes the authoritarian place, because teacher will be the leader of this type of teaching, and he will instruct, deliver and direct the learning. There are different schools of teaching which lay stress on instructional method, experimental method and experiential method. Certain learning takes place by instruction, that there is some authority who has devised a process and split the work into smaller steps, and teacher is instructing the learner to go step by step. So there is no scope of experimentation by the learner, and the learner cannot be left to experience the matter by his own self. There are certain types of content where the learner learns by trial and error, whereas in instructional method, teacher selects only those methods which have been tried and tested over a period of time, so that scope of making error is minimized. And teacher is the one who has to control the activity. Control means control at both levels. At the speed level, that means how fast the lesson will proceed, and controlling the subject matter, the complexity of the subject matter, or how much is to be revealed to the learner at that time, that is also controlled by the teacher. Learner is not allowed to go beyond the teacher, and he has to proceed at the speed decided by the teacher. So here what we see, that the whole of the management of classwork as well as the work or activities assigned for work outside the classroom, they are under the control of teacher. So teacher has to be a good manager. He has to decide what activity is to be done, in how much speed and how much complexity it is to be done. That is all the role of teacher. Similarly, evaluation is also the role of teacher. Teacher has to evaluate that how much the learner has learned. He has to devise certain tests or certain methods so that he can see that learner is learning at the desired speed. And what kind of evaluation method is to be used, that is also entirely teacher centric. Now, if everything is teacher centric, then what guidance is available for the teacher so that he can plan his work well? That guidance comes from learner's characteristics. So that means teacher must be familiar with learner characteristics. Learner's characteristics, it may include age, mental level, his motivation level, what kind of activities motivate the learner, what kind of evaluation or evaluation technique used by the teacher will give him best possible inference. That is to be decided based on learner's characteristics. Because very important role of teacher is that he should keep his or her learner motivated, and for that teacher has to be fully aware of the learner's capabilities. Now let us talk about role of learner. If all this is to be done by the teacher, then what will the learner do? If teacher is going to decide everything, teacher is going to plan everything, teacher is going to transfer the information to the learner, then what will the learner do? What is expected from learner? Most of the time we see that at this level of teaching, learner is passive. Now, passive doesn't mean that learner doesn't have to do anything. Learner is expected to do drill, drill and drill. The only role which the learner has to do is practice, revise, drill. Practice, revise, drill. So that whatever material has been taught by the teacher, that becomes fixed in his mind. So the learner has to develop his capacity or proficiency of memorization. So what the learner has to do? He remains passive. That means he is not contributing to all this what the teacher is doing. So his role is quite separate from the teacher. It is a very authoritarian way where the learner is at the receiving end. He has to receive the information, and after receiving the information he has to practice and for that he has to do that work mechanically again and again with one objective in the mind. What is the objective? That he has to increase his capacity or proficiency of memorization. So here we come to understand that memorization is very important for the learner. And in the next few lessons, I tend to develop a lesson on memorization or memory or memorization techniques, because what we see that this memory level of teaching is not limited only to the young learners. Even mature learners, they have to memorize certain content. So in future, I intend to develop a lesson on memorization and memorization techniques which can be useful to young learners as well as adult learners. Okay, so here we have discussed role of teacher and role of learner. Let us try to understand that how this interaction process take place. This interaction between role of teacher and learner is interactive through certain activities. Interactive activities, they take place between teacher and learner. So what activities can be devised so that it is not only one way transmission of information from teacher to learner, but teacher gets to know his learner by doing certain activities together. As far as this is concerned, here the learning or interactive activities, they are based on doing, practice or drill together. Teacher can devise certain activities where teacher works with the learner and do certain activities so that motivation level of learner remains high. And for doing this activity, he can devise different activities. So that it doesn't remain a monotonous process. So if there are different activities, then both the learner and teacher, they will take interest in those activities and learning will be better. There can be use of certain teaching aids too. To make these different activities, teacher can utilize certain teaching aids like certain games can be used, certain audio video materials can be used, certain models, charts and maps they can be used, pictures can be used, and nowadays there is a lot of interest in audio visual and smart teaching aids which keep the curiosity of the child alive, and because of that learning becomes very easy and the child remains motivated. In the next lesson, we will talk about the remaining part of the remaining part, that is motivation, evaluation method, merits, demerits and suggestion for improvement. I hope you have understood this lesson. In case of any query, you are most welcome.